was 13 years old, I came across this program, and it had to do with inmates and the opportunity. There was this particular speaker working with them. And I walked away from that moment when I was like 13 years old thinking, like, one day I want to do something like that. And so I think that this project is not only like shaping me into the type of aware person that I want to be, but it also is an opportunity for me to walk out those things that I kind of envisioned and saw myself doing as a child.
One of the amazing things about playback is that the person who founded it was looking for a way to engage an audience immediately. And we all have stories, and sharing stories and seeing them played back was a way to do that. Add to that the level of, as we have discovered in this project, we are all separated by almost nothing from incarceration ourselves. We all know people who have been incarcerated. We have family who's incarcerated, have had run-ins ourselves. So this whole notion that there's that big divide is really not true. And I think that coming together as an audience to have this experience will just unite us more as human beings sharing the same planet.
This medium to me is really, it is profoundly about change and working at the intersections of really challenging problems. Inevitably, when we are playing back a story, we are encountering these sort of fundamental problems of what it is to be human and what it is to be a human in our society. And I would say that this medium has really allowed us to interrogate both at a very personal level, but also kind of in a larger big picture level, a variety of different kind of pernicious problems of today.
One of the things that I want to be able to be or do as a human is to be able to step outside of myself and my own experience, and to be able to see life through the lens of someone else without all the judgment.
For those of us who are fortunate enough to not be behind bars, I think we take freedom for granted, and I think it is a gift. I have a son who has been incarcerated, and not for a long time or anything else, but it was one of the most terrifying things as a parent. And all of the people who have written these stories have parents. And so as a parent, personally, I understand what it's like to have that be something that happens to your child, that you never see that coming, you don't want it for your child or whatever. Even though your story might not be about being incarcerated, there might be a kind of imprisonment in your life that you didn't realize was imprisonment, that a story like this will allow you to see differently with a different perspective. Really listening to each other and really hearing what people are saying is so important. So you hear the story and then you see how we all have heard the story, and it just expands the possibility of understanding.
The last performance, the last showcasing, once it kind of wrapped up, I had an opportunity to meet one of the students. I had the pleasure of dancing to some of her work, and it was such a delight to see like the joy and the expression she felt, knowing that there were a group of people outside of prison who was not just holding her work, but willing to embody it. And then as well as that, she just spoke about, like, I did that, like I wrote that. In a sense, she was saying, like, she never knew that there would come a day where her writing would be up on stage. And that bridge from not just working with the text, the material, but being able to look into the eyes, the face of the authors, hold a conversation with them, I think that is what has affected me the most.
I'm a mental health provider, I'm a therapist, and I am really interested in what it is to find connection and intimacy in places where often there's a lot of disconnection. Stories from the margins, stories that are locked up behind doors, and really using our bodies and our sound and movement to bring what is behind those walls forward. What I hope in terms of the experience of the audience is to really experience connection with us and the stories. I imagine that we will humanize them and we will bring sort of full dynamic pictures of stories and people. I think there's just a lot of potent possibility in that in terms of self-reflection and people being in dialogue with each other. So I hope it's inspirational at those levels.
It's very often that people just rely on the spoken sound, and that's only one piece of it. And so the music, the movement, the sounds sometimes that are not verbal, it all adds to the tapestry of playback, which makes it really interesting. And people see things in different ways, so the audience is going to experience it differently, which is really, I think, part of the inclusion.
What I feel has been most valuable about this process is the possibility of 8 perfect strangers coming together to do hard things and sit with challenging content and a lot of uncertainty baked into the process and taking a lot of risks together. And so I do think it's really valuable to witness that, and I hope it's an invitation for other people to come and join us.
To tell a story or to share a story and to have the listener who may have never experienced the same exact thing that I have experienced, nor have they walked in the shoes that I've walked in, yet there's something about my story that triggers a memory or an experience within them, is powerful, beautiful, and it has the ability to change your perspective and remove judgment or biases surrounding prisoners.
How do you get people to pay attention? I mean, I think that's part of the purpose of this project, is to say, pay attention to this, because these are all people that we share the planet with. So how can we make it better for everybody? And, you know, it's not as simple as you're bad, you're in jail, you're good, you're not. It's just, what have we done to collude? Because I think there's a lot of collusion, and just starting to be aware of that. And I think that's really what we want to keep doing.